Siyam. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah. Wa huwa Rabbul Muttaqeen. Wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi ba'athahu Allah rahmatan lil alameen. Today, inshallah, we have another installment of an example of the rahmah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And as I mentioned to you, there are many examples. I think next week is going to be the last one, inshallah. We'll leave the last one for an important part of the community in terms of the categories who should be spoken about, and we should remind the community about them. Today, we're going to talk about the mercy that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had on the animals that were in his environment. And if he had mercy on the animals in his environment, that means that we have to have mercy upon the animals that are in our environment. But as I said in the Khutbatul Jummah, and as I always say, the groove is always in the middle. The groove is always in the middle. You're always going to find the groove right in the middle. So here in the West, these people go overboard as it relates to the rights of animals. They're overboard. We don't go overboard. Allah said in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. Verily, I have honored Adam's children, and that he has given us intellect. He has caused us to be on our 2 feet. We can discern right from wrong. The way we look, the things that we can do. That's honor. So you find these people going overboard and saving the rights and protecting the rights of animals, but they're killing people in Palestine left, right, and center. But then they'll jump up and down when something happens to some animals, and there's cruelty to animals. We say cruelty to animals not permissible. Having pit bulls fight, chickens fight, it's not permissible in the deen of Allah. That's a sign of barbarism and people being, backwards. But what these people do is too much. We say to them again, don't tell us about our religion. You don't tell us about animal rights. We have that in our religion. In the middle. I remember a few years ago, they were transporting 2 giraffes. And the people were driving the lorry truck for the giraffe. He went under a bridge that he didn't figure in the size of the necks of the giraffe. So when he went under the bridge hit the necks of the giraffe. There's somebody in our community, a kid, a woman, someone is an animal lover. They look at that and they see that in their eyes and they'll start crying. Poor giraffes. But then something happens to the Muslims somewhere that doesn't affect them. And then when that happened with the giraffes, the world jumped up and down. The whole world was writing about the poor little 2 giraffes. Yeah, we're not going to applaud that. But those giraffes are not human beings. So we have to stay in the middle. We have to stay in the middle. I don't want anybody taken away from what I'm saying. We're driving down one of these busy highways somewhere. It's a busy highway. And then there's an animal that got hit by a car before you. And then you're going to stop in the middle of the highway to go take them off of the street because Islam has rahmah to animals and risk getting hit yourself. We're not saying that. Animals are not to that degree in the religion, not to that degree. But taking care of animals is something that is found in the Quran and found in the Sunnah of the Nabi. First thing we want to mention, inshallah, and this is very important, and it goes to show why we shouldn't go overboard. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned, هُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ لَكُم مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Allah is the one who created for mankind, for you people. He created everything in the earth for mankind. He didn't create the earth for the animals. The animals have been placed in the earth for mankind. So we should never allow ourselves to put the animals above the human being, spending money on the animal, taking them to the vet, and then the human beings who we know, we don't spend on them. It's a backwards picture. Not only is everything in the earth, everything in the earth is for Bani Adam to help his life in the way that's been legislated. He also mentions subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَسَخَّرَ لَكُم مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مِّنْهُ. Allah has made everything in the heavens and everything in the earth. He made it for your use, for everybody, Bani Adam, made it for your use. And that is a ni'mah from him. So how is the stuff in the heavens for us? The sun, the moon, so that we can tell time. The stars, so that we can travel. So that people can look at all of that stuff, the rain. So we get benefit from the rain. Now, all of that should point to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rububiyyah. All of that, no doubt. But this stuff is for us. The message here is, don't get it backwards. Put a lot of emphasis on having rahmah upon the animal and no rahmah upon the human being. And I've seen it. We do it. How did Islam show the rahmah on the animals? The fact that in Islam we're going to slaughter. We're going to slaughter. So some people say animal cruelty, animal cruelty. I'm going to be a vegetarian. I'm not going to eat that meat. That meat is no good for you. Processed meat may not be good for you. Eating too much meat may not be good for you. There are some issues with beef if you eat that a lot. Pork is no good for you. But Allah knew what he was doing when he gave us canine teeth. He knew what he was doing when he made our teeth the way they are. Rasulullah and his companions used to eat meat. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And never did we ever hear a prophet called to vegetarianism. Is there a benefit in being a vegetarian? Yeah, if you want to do that. But as for a person saying, I'm not eating any meat, because no, those animals have been made for us to eat and they have benefit in it. Now, he told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inna Allah kataba alaykum al-ihsan. Allah has written perfection on you, prescribed. Whenever you do it, do something, try to do it to your best ability. You do your homework assignment, don't rush through it. Take your time writing it so that when you deliver the assignment to the person, it's a reflection of you. It could be seen. You put your best foot forward. He said, Allah has written and prescribed perfection on you. So if you kill, kill well. And if you slaughter, slaughter well. وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدَكُمْ شَفْرَةً. And when you're about to slaughter, make sure you sharpen that knife. So recently at the Eid, the recent Eid, when people go and they learn how to slaughter, a lot of times you see people are causing the animal pain. Sometimes that's going to happen. Why? Because I'm a revert. I never slaughtered in my life. At some point, I'm going to have to slaughter. So I go, people teaching me what I have to do. They show me, they say, you hold the knife like that, and I may not get it right away. Is that haram? No, I have to learn. But I shouldn't be out there experimenting and then stopping the knife and say, what I'm doing wrong. And then you shouldn't do like that. That's too much. But a person doing it for the first time, he may not get it. He may not get it. But the issue is, you have to learn. So the point is, he said, let each and every one of you spare the animal pain and sharpen your knife. That's the rahmah of al-Islam. Another issue, and this is really important. There was a man who had his animal, and his animal was laying right next to him where he was going to slaughter. Bismillah. And the man was sharpening his knife, and the animal was looking. Rasulullah witnessed what was happening, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he said to the man, Aturidu an taqtuluha mawtat, or aturidu an tumitaha mawtat? You want to kill it multiple times? You're killing it by, he's looking at you. And plus, he killed an animal, he killed his cousin, he killed his mother, he killed his father, he killed this one. And they're seeing all of that sometimes, like at the day of the Eid, at the slaughterhouse. He said, are you going to kill him multiple times? Kill him one time and don't cause him to suffer. Although they don't have intellect, you see how those animals behave when they're going to get cut up and when blood is all over the place. So the Muslim, when he goes into that place, he's not going in there like a madman. And I'm going to tell you something too, and I saw this from experience, and I'll share it with you. In the Muslim world, a certain Muslim world, they cut the head off of people who deserve corporal punishment. The sword is extremely sharp. The guy who's doing it is a professional. It's like those samurai warriors who cut through the bamboo and all of that with precision. The sword is sharp and they know what they're doing. That's not the point. The point is, when they cut that guy or whoever, they cut him off, they cut the head off, there are people who come to the guy who did it, the sayyaf, and they grab him and they disarm him. That's their job. It's their job. They come and they grab him and they disarm him. Why? You'll find some people when they go to these places and you start killing animals, he wants to keep killing. Yes. He wants to keep killing. I've seen it with my own eyes. And you look at that person with that knife and you have to say, yo, homie, put the knife down. What are you doing? And he's just walking around like that with the knife. So some people will chop the head off, and I don't want to sound graphic here. People look at it and say, look what these people talking about. We're talking about our religion. But that's what they do. The point is, we in our religion have everything laid out for us. So that's from the rahmah of al-Islam. It's from the rahmah of al-Islam. Take it easy on the animal. Now my question is, I'm going to take it easy on an animal, and I know I'm going to slaughter. So every day I'm sharpening the sword, and every day I'm just taking care of it. But while I'm doing that, I'm disrespecting my mother. I'm disrespecting the Muslims. I'm disrespecting people. You got it backwards. We have to pay more attention to the human beings than we do to the animals, because Allah has honored the human beings over the animals. Another example, and this is really, really important, ikhwani, and that is the issue of the camels. The camels in al-Islam during the environment of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam were important. And if you look at how they had to deal with those camels, anything and everything you want to know about the camels, those Arabs knew about it. And one of the things they learned about that camel was how to treat all animals, big and small, especially animals that have mothers and fathers, especially. The Nabi had a camel, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and after he died, Rasulullah's camel became sad. He wouldn't cooperate with anybody. They just were marveling at how he was walking around, and they can see something was wrong with that camel. And he died only a few months after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, although he wasn't an old camel. Why did he die like that? It was clear he was sad. The Nabi of Islam took care of that camel, treated him well. But look what happened. There were a group of companions from the Ansar, from the Ansar. They complained to the Prophet about a camel that they had. His job was to draw the water, and then they would take the water to their crops and put the water in the crops for the date palm trees and the vegetables. The camel became a bit older, started having issues in his back. He didn't want to work anymore. So when they would come to try to get him to work, he would go crazy on everybody. Nobody could come too close to him. They told the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, everybody, let's go. They all went to the camel. They say, Ya Rasulullah, don't get close to that camel. He's like a wild dog that has rabies. Because those camels, when they go off, they go off. He said, I'm not going to hurt the camel, and the camel's not going to hurt me. They said when the Prophet went to the camel, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the camel made sajda to the Nabi, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in front of everybody. Now you just got to imagine that. This is no magic trick. This is no trained animal. How they do and they freak people out when the preachers train alligators or monkeys or whatever, and they do something and the people get tricked. This is the Nabi of Islam. He went to the wild camel and he made sajda. Not he made baruch and went down. He made sajda and put his head down to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah came closer to the camel and touched the camel on his head. The camel went more down. The people were shocked. They say, Ya Rasulullah, this camel doesn't even have any intellect and he's bowing to you like that and making sajda. They said, we should make sajda to you even more because we got intellect. He could have taken advantage of them. He said, no, the only sajda we make is to Allah. But if I were to order someone to make sajda to someone else, I'd have ordered the woman, the wife, to make sajda to her husband. When the people saw that, they said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was clearly the arham an-nas, the most gentle of the people. And because of his gentleness to the camel, the camel respected. And there are a lot of examples of that. He went into the man's garden. He walked up to the camel that he saw, and he saw the camel was crying. He went to the camel, and the camel did something. He said, whose camel is this? A young man said, that's my camel, Ya Rasulullah. He said, won't you fear Allah in this camel? You're making it starve. You're starving the camel. You have him working, but you're not feeding him. So he prevented the people from starving camels and other animals. He prevented people from taking them from target practice. He prevented them from mutilating them. If you mutilate an animal, if you cut off a part of the animal, that cut off part can't be eaten. It's najis. If you cut his arm off, you can't eat the meat. Any animal is najis. So that's an encouragement. Don't mutilate the animals. Abdullah bin Umar radiallahu anhu was traveling or walking through the city, and there was some young shabab, just wasting the time, letting the time go by. They were shooting their arrows at a bird. And the game was, the man who owned the bird, every time the arrows would miss, the arrow belongs to him. He put his bird out there. And if they miss, the arrow belongs to him. If they killed the bird, they just left the bird there. It was just for target practice. When Abdullah bin Umar came and the people saw him, the youngsters, they ran away. But he saw what happened. He said to the people, La'ana Allahu alladhi ittakhadha ma fihi ruh gharada. May the curse of Allah be upon the one who takes and makes something that has a spirit, has a ruh, a spirit. He takes it as target practice. So we cannot just shoot things for target practice. You want to train with a firearm or something like that? You have to train and shoot a target, shoot a tree, shoot at cans, at bottles. You can't just go out, for an example, and just shoot alligators. We don't like alligators. We're just going to kill an alligator. Now, if things have gotten infested and the lives of the human beings are being affected and the animals are overrunning and overflowing, then that's a different issue. But just to go out and have, fun shooting animals is not permissible in the Deen of Islam. We're talking about animals. The people from Belgium used to go into the Congo and they used to chase human beings and shoot them down. They used to shoot human beings down. They would gather people and say, run. And they'll give you a day or a few hours. And then they go on a hunting trip. And they will catch you out there and shoot you and just leave you out there. So hunting for lions and stuff like that. You hunt these things, just leave it like that? This is not permissible in the Deen of Islam. And then we turn around and let the Europeans and let the non-Muslims tell us we're barbaric because of the way we're acting. The way we're acting. You're hunting human beings. You guys have decimated the rhinoceroses. You killed all of those rhinoceros off. And other than that, how many animals are going to extinct? From what we have from the Sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that they were traveling and he went to do the call of nature, akramakumullah. And he left his companions and he went. The companions saw that there was a mother bird and she had 2 baby chicks. They took the 2 chicks. And when they took the 2 chicks, the mother bird started flapping her wings and being very aggressive, but she's not going to do anything to those people. The Arabs are not afraid of the mother bird. When the Prophet came and he saw the situation, he said to them, why do you terrorize the mother? Give her back her babies. Give her back her chicks. They gave the chicks back. He saw that some of the companions burned some ants in an ant mound. We're talking about animals. We're talking about insects as well. His rahmah towards the insects. Suleiman's rahmah towards the insects. Anything that has life. If you don't have to kill it, don't kill it. One of those lizards come into your home. If you don't have to kill it, don't kill it. But what I'm going to do? Just let the lizard run up until I can grab him? The only way I can do is hit him and kill him? I'm going to kill him right then and there. But if you can open the door and shoo him out, you can catch the spider in the thing, then you give him life. You let him live to see another day. He's not trying to do anything against you, per se. But if you had to kill them, you can exterminate them. They're overrunning your house. Mice, they're in your house. Rats, in your house. Raccoons, in your house. You can exterminate them. But anyway, he saw that those ants had been burnt. He became very angry with the companions. And he told us something very important in our deed. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لا ينبغي أن يعذب بالنار إلا رب النار. It is not okay for anyone to punish anything else using fire except the Lord of the fire. It's not permissible for anyone to punish some human being or an animal with fire, using fire, except the Lord of the fire. Is one of the reasons why we say killing people by electrocuting them, it's not permissible in Islam. Not permissible in Islam. That's a barbaric way of killing people, burning them like that. But then again, they'll mention to us things about corporal punishment, and we become apologetic when in reality, they are not in a position to speak. If we explain the context and the practices of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he did and how he did, whether they accept it or not, all of those explanations are plausible and they make sense. And they clearly show and prove the rahmah of the Nabi, who was traveling sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his companions. And while they were traveling, there was a donkey. You know, in the Arabic culture with Arabs, the Muslims, if you say the word donkey, they're going to say something after that word. It's not from the Sunnah, but the donkey is, I don't even know how to describe it, and I don't know how the donkey became like that in their culture. But if you just talk about, hey, there's a donkey over there in the road, after saying donkey, the Arabs would say akramakallah, or something like that. Allah purified things. Because the donkey is looked at as being very, very low in their country, in their culture. The Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam with his companions, a donkey passed and someone branded the donkey in his face. And it had the mark of the owner of the donkey. When they saw that, he said sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la'ana Allahu alladhi wasama hada. May Allah curse the one who put that thing on the face of this donkey, burning him on his face. Burning him on his face. Can you burn him on his other side? Yeah, that's allowed. He didn't let him burn you on the face. How are you going to know that the donkey belongs to you? The sheep, the goats. How are you going to know that they belong to you? Back then, they didn't have paint. They could paint on a thing like they do now. So he would allow them on the leg or something like that. But on the face, it disfigures the looking, the way the animal looks, and also the pain. Like anybody would tell you, getting a tattoo on your face is not like getting a tattoo on any other part of your body. That's why when you see people with tattoos on their faces, something's wrong. Yeah, you have to wonder, what was on his mind? What's on his mind? The tattoo on the face is a statement, more than a fashion statement, because that joint hurts. So that's the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling the people, don't do this even to the donkey. The dog in Islam, everybody knows, is not a well-liked animal. And yet, the man went and drank from the well and he was thirsty. He thought he was going to die. He was perched. And he came to the well, found the water in the well, went in the well, drank the water, came out of the well, saw the dog walking around the well, also thirsty, in need. He went from our ummah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, said that man went, got the water for the dog, gave the dog drink, and as a result of that, he's going to go to Jannah. That's rahmah to a dog. I don't like dogs now as a Muslim. I don't like dogs myself. But I can't treat the dog bad, man. I can't intentionally run the dog over when I see the dog crossing the road. If I'm not going to cause an accident, slow down. Let the dog run over. Some people try to hit the dog with the understanding we don't like dogs in Islam. Don't kill a dog. The lady who did the bad job, and I don't want to mention what her job was, but most of you understand, making money in the haram way. That was her profession. She made money that way. Big sin, big crime. Also, she's from the people who went before us, not from our ummah. She's from the people who went before us, was doing that job. She gave water to the dog after drinking from the well. Allah was pleased with that. Shakara Allahu laha. Allah Azza wa Jal was grateful for what the lady did. That's the rahmah of animals in our religion. And too many other examples. The lady had the cat. She held the cat as a captive. Didn't let the cat go out to eat from the insects of the earth and from the leaves of the earth. And she didn't feed the cat. As a result of that, she went to the hellfire when she died. Now, this is important. We keep talking about these animals. So a person will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cats. He says, this is from the Sunnah. Man, that's not from the Sunnah, 10 cats, man. 10 cats is not from the Sunnah. What are you talking about? Who does that? Cats running all around. Now, if that's how you want to live and that's what you want to do, you have to have some hygiene in there. Can't be smelling, bringing guests, and they like that. I don't know how many of our reverts think that having a cat is from the Sunnah. No. He didn't allow the dogs to be with us in the house, but they had cats. They said, what about the cats, Ya Rasulullah? Can the cats be in the house? And if the cat were to eat out of your thing, do you have to clean the thing? He said, no. The cats are from those creatures that circulate with you. They're in the house, so you don't have to worry. And they're clean for the most part. For the most part. They don't have the germs that the dogs have. But does it mean you're going to lick a cat's mouth? No, you're not going to do that. So the lady went to the hellfire because she held the cat. Didn't feed the cat. And she didn't let the cat go out to eat and come back. I want to mention this. If a man gets married to a woman and that woman now is in the house because he married her, it's as if he has tied her up, figuratively speaking. Now it's his job and his responsibility to feed that lady, to take care of the lady's needs. Because due to the marriage, alhamdulillah, and her house, alhamdulillah, is the best place for her. But it's permissible for her to go out as long as she goes out the right way. So here the guy will have a cat and feed the cat. And even I see some of these people, they give these cats tuna fish. When I was growing up, man, you give these animals the leftovers, man, what you didn't eat. That's what and those other dogs as well. They be giving dogs fish, vegetables, broccoli, and the dogs be eating. I was like, what is that? And they cut the meat. That's ghulu. No Muslim should do that. Don't tell me I'm the only one who saw that. You guys have never seen these people cutting the meat for the dogs, real nice meat, expensive cuts. No. We used to, down south as well, they used to call it the slop. And you would go give them pigs that slop. You know, everything that was in the house that you throw out. So now the man is really, really good with the animal that's a turtle. He got a boa constrictor. He got a parrot. He got a monkey. All of them. He's feeding all of them and being patient with the parrot all night, talking all night. Patient. But his wife, he's not being patient with her. He's not feeding her right. He's not taking her right. He's not taking care of her living expenses. His children. How is a person going to have an animal, take care of the animal, and not take care of his kids from the divorced wife? That animal doesn't deserve that money before that child deserves the money. So anyone who's responsible for taking someone's freedom away, it's your duty and obligation to feed them and to clothe them, or give them an opportunity to go get their own money and take care of themselves. So those are some of the many examples, ikhwani, of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam dealing with those animals. And there are a lot. He told us about other prophets and other messengers who also had this same thing. It's a consistent pattern. And I think one of the main lessons about this is in Islam, when it comes to technology, the way the world is today, okay, let's accept the technology that non-Muslims may have, because they're the shakers, the movers of what's going on. No problem. We learn this stuff, we accept it, we embrace it, the way our religion allows. But when it comes to the mu'amala of how to deal with human beings and animals and the handicapped and the elders and this and that, we say, no, you're not going to determine and dictate to us what's acceptable or not. What you deem to be acceptable, and it's really acceptable, we already have it in our religion. So you're not telling us anything new. You're telling us what we already have. As for you trying to dictate to us that an individual can get in trouble for dealing with an animal a particular way so that he can safeguard himself and so that he can enjoy the life that Allah made from him, and now he gets in trouble, we say no. That's ghulu. That's too much. That's excessive. So our Nabi and our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he had rahmah to everyone and for everyone. Next week, inshallah, is the last rahmah installation bi idhnillahi ta'ala. Any questions, ikhwani? You guys have any questions? Sheikh Abu Anas.
People that castrate some animals.
Cut trees?
Castration.
What about castrating animals is permissible? Under the ayat, Allah created everything on the earth for us. He created it for us. So if a person wants to castrate, for an example, his cat, so that he won't have any babies, you got a female cat, you don't want to have other kittens overrunning the house, you could castrate them. And especially right now, castrating those animals is relatively easy. So that's something that's permissible in the deen. Castration. Do you call castration to animal? No. What is castration? What is castration again? Khasab. What is castration again? In Arabic? Huh? I know the word. كنا نريد نغتصب على عهد النبي. اغتصب.
لا. اغتصب بالخاصة.
Yeah, with a صاد. Abdul Shakur.
Yeah, what about that gecko, little lizard?
Those geckos. Huh? MashaAllah. The fitna. How about those geckos? There is a hadith that says that if you kill a lizard who is called the wazakh, he's a particular type of lizard that the Arabs know. It's not this gecko. It's not this one exactly. This little fast gecko, this thing like that. And they're bigger than that. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anyone who kills them, and the first time he tries, he'll get 10 hasanat. And if you kill them the first time, you get so many hasanat. I don't remember the number. Somebody look for the number. If you kill them the first time, you get a lot. And if you kill them after that, you may get less. But that's a particular type of lizard. And that's because that lizard carries leprosy. He carries leprosy. So if he was allowed to wander around, he bites somebody, bite an animal, the chicken, and we eat the chicken, you got leprosy, cuz. So he let the people kill him on sight. Because some animals, like the snake that he says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's black, and he got a white line down his back and his two eyes, he got a bumps over his head. He said, if you see that snake, you should warn him and tell him to go. If he doesn't go, then you can kill him. This is a jinn. But you should say, hey, you got to get out of here, snake. So that's Islam wanting to keep life. That's Islam wanting to keep life. He said that snake, if that snake looks at a lady who's pregnant, he'll cause her to have a miscarriage. Man, we have to believe that. That's what Imam Ahmed meant in As-Sunnah about when the hadith is established. We believe in that. We believe in that. So the gecko that wasn't is not the gecko. But I heard that some of the sheikhs, they said all of those kind of lenses is under the family of the gecko. Allahu alam. 2 reasons though. You know why we kill that gecko? 2 reasons. Yep, from Friday's khutbah. First, they carry leprosy. And number 2, when they put Ibrahim in the fire, that gecko was blowing on the fire so it can burn Ibrahim. Somebody come and say, oh, what's one gecko going to do about the fire? How are you going to blow the fire? The fire will consume and burn the gecko. What are you talking about? The wazah. Well, why stop there and disbelieve in that? Why don't you just go a step further and say Ibrahim never was in the fire because he was in the fire? What's the problem? Why your attention is on the wazah? How can the wazah blow to make the fire hotter? He has a problem with that. But he believes Ibrahim is inside of the fire and not getting hurt. That doesn't make sense. If he's inside of the fire and it's not hurting him and it's cool, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Nabi told us that's what the gecko did, the wazah. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with the people? Yeah, so we have al-wala wa bara. We have al-wala wa bara. Anybody have a pen?
100 hasana.
100, right?
Ibn Uthaymeen said that. Of a killing with the first blow.
Yeah, there's a hadith. All right, ikhwani. Any more questions? تفضل يا أخي كريم.
Is there any leeway to keep a dog?
What's your name, my brother? Rahim, you came with my man back there, Abdul Haq?
Nah, I'm in Newark.
Newark, New Jersey?
Nah.
MashaAllah. How long you been up here? 3 years. In the Popka? Cali. Yeah, you can keep a dog for 3 reasons. One reason is to hunt. Second reason is for harasa, to protect your house, a guard dog. And the third reason is to help you with your ghanamaya, your sheep, camels, cows, stuff like that. Help keep them in order for those 3 things. But having a dog, just to have a dog as a pet, something that is impermissible. I've also seen some niza', ikhtilaf between some of the scholars concerning a blind dog, a dog for the blind. Sometimes Muslims have no alternative except they don't have any family for one reason or another. The only available resource that they have is a dog to help them around. This is permissible. It's better for him to live a fuller life getting out and going around as opposed to being stuck like Chuck in the crib. He can't go anywhere because the dog has najasa and so forth and so on. And he's just in the house, can't do his stuff. Whereas if he had that dog, he'll be able to go to the doctor, he'll be able to go to the hospital, he'll be able to go to things that he has to do. He'll be able to go shopping or whatever. So scholars allowed that through necessity. And some say no, because it's not from the three, and it's also najis. His lu'ab, his saliva. A'udhu billah. Those dogs used to be, we used to love those dogs, man. That's all I could say. We used to love those dogs, but now, a'udhu billah. I want to ask you guys a question. Yeah, go ahead, my brother. Go ahead.
Camels. So,
Kennels,
yeah, camels.
camps,
Camels.
camels.
What's the understanding? Why do we have to make wudu after we eat camel?
Why do we have to make wudu after eating camel meat? It wasn't just camel meat. At the beginning of Islam, anything that fire touched it, you had to make wudu. Sheep, camel meat, fish, anything. If the fire touched it, you had to make wudu. And then after that, everything else was allowed with the exception of camel meat. The Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the camel, there is a shaitan. Camel has a shaitan. Like the people say, Ya Rasulullah, that camel is like a wild dog. When a camel goes off, he's off the meat hinges, brother. Camel is wild. Camel will hurt you, turn on you, just like that. And it's not an animal to be played with. And for that reason, we respect them. You're not allowed to pray in their corral. Can't pray there. Come and attack you while you're praying. So you have to treat that camel very delicately and very gingerly because he has a shaitan, mental. You ever see those camels, their tongues come out and stuff like that? You ever see that with a camel? Yeah, their tongue can come all the way out and get all big. It's like just to see it, you can see, you say, what is this?
It's not the thumb. I think it's the lung. It's the lung sometimes. Throat, something. It's not the thumb.
Comes out, huh? And it has some benefit too, that happening. And when you see, you say, whoa. But they're beautiful animals though, right? In Africa, the Tawarik, Mauritania, Mali, those people, they have some nice programs on the YouTube about those guys knowing the desert and taking their, I'm gonna look for this thing to share with you, brothers, inshallah, that will blow your mind about how when they used to go to Timbuktu and just travel with these camels and it's still there today. They will go into this place like the Grand Canyon, but the rocks are hanging over, like the rocks are out like this, and the water, you start hearing the sound of the camel as you get close and close. And when you get inside of there and you see the number of camels and the sound, it's like being out in the middle of the ocean. No one knows about it. No one knows about it except those Bedouins. And it's like 10, 20, 30,000 camels. I'm going to send it to you, brothers, inshallah. I'm sending it on that list. I have to find it. Last question to my man.
What about wild hogs crossing the property? God in the country said
Wild hogs,
wild hogs.
they don't belong to you. They belong to somebody else. Shouldn't kill them. But if those hogs are causing a problem,
Property, rooting up property.
yeah, you can deal with those hogs who come in and eat up your stuff, like wolves and coyotes and those wild animals who are hunting and they eat up your stuff, your chickens, and they eat up and damage your property. You can get rid of them. You get rid of them guys. Last question, my man Abdul Haq.
In the story of Tammuz, when Allah destroyed them about killing the she-camel, what is the tafsir of that? As far as why Allah punishment for killing the she-camel?
Because the Nabi, the Rasul, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, told them, this is the she-camel of Allah. Don't do anything to it. Leave it alone. And they strung it up anyway, being disobedient and defiant. So when they disobey him, they disobey Allah. When they disobey the Rasul, the Masjid, they disobey Allah. So as a result of that disobedience, they failed the test. So Allah punished them. That's all. It's nothing deep or heavy. They should have just left the Naqa alone. They would have not been punished. But they exceeded the limits, those people. Yeah. All right, ikhwani. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Hey, Fawzan, can you send me a message? Remind me about those camels. Just say, camel stop. Yeah. That shows you know how to search.